The universe's penchant for singularity is its motor, its motivation, its driving force. The cosmos seeks a perfect state of singularity, of stasis, of equanimity. It continuously works toward a neutral state. The universe wants to zero out, what we call a net zero sum. This goal of zeroness is the ultimate state of stability. Space is trying to zero out. Time is trying to zero out. Matter is trying to zero out. Genetics, the psyche, weather patterns and temperatures, geological formations and biological systems, stellar systems and black holes. Everything engages in this existential pursuit of perfect balance and stasis, constantly and continuously. It is unceasing. It is the primary motivator of all that is, both material and immaterial. But there can never be perfect stasis, perfect equanimity and balance to the universe, not even in the pre-Big Bang condition of the universe, to which science refers to as the singularity. If this singularity had been truly stable, nothing would have come of it. It would have no motivation to articulate, no agitation urging expansion. If the universe were to ever achieve a perfect state of equalization, a zeroing out, everything would cease to exist. It would be like the perfect balance of matter and antimatter. The collateral annihilation of each would render the universe defunct. In order for anything to exist, there must be some degree of imbalance. Thus, while there may have been what we refer to as a Big Bang to the cosmos, a sort of starting point from which we are able to draft our universe's existential timeline, it is certainly not likely to have been the Big Bang, as in the only one of its kind. It is more likely that this Big Banging is a cycle, like everything else in nature, and that it has occurred an infinite number of times into the past and will continue an infinite number of times into the future, or at least infinite on any scale which we can comprehend, as compared to our own experience. Saying there was only one Big Bang is like saying that you only have one heartbeat, and that your life began at this heartbeat, and that it will end at its next contraction. This cycle of Big Bangs is the cosmic heartbeat. It pumps light, energy, and matter into the universe, giving it life, as our heart pumps blood, providing the same to our own body. The obvious objection to this cycling of Big Bangs might be the current prevailing model of astrophysics, which seems to demonstrate that the universe is expanding at an ever-increasing rate, with time and space expanding between solar clusters exponentially, with no sign of ever slowing down, resulting in an ultimate and certain cosmic cooling and heat death, also referred to as the Big Freeze. What one must understand about this theory is just that. It is a theory based on the apparent observation of red shift between stellar objects, indicating that these objects are becoming ever more distant over time. But there are other thoughts on this red shift, that perhaps light slows over time, and that light speed may have limitations, so that the further away something is, the weaker or slower the light travels, increasing its apparent redshift. Another theory is that the universe doesn't orbit the cosmic center in a circular or ovular motion, but following a toroidal pattern. This toroidal pattern is how all known energy fields in the universe work, so implying that the universe also moves in this way is sequitur. If the universe flows in a toroidal fashion, like following the curvature of a donut, around the outer edge, reversing directions in a torus fashion back through the center and back out the other side, subsequently traversing the opposite outer edge and back in again, then any stellar object traveling along the outer edge would seem to exhibit this same redshift of light. The object would be increasing its speed, away from those behind and adjacent to it, while objects ahead of it would be exponentially increasing their speed and subsequently distance from that object, racing away from it at an even faster rate of speed than the object itself. This expansion of space between objects along the curvature of the cosmic donut would appear, from the perspective of each object, that every other object were racing away from it, becoming ever more distant. However, once cresting the outer edge of the torus and following the trajectory back toward the center, all stellar objects would begin to exhibit signs of collapsing in on each other at an ever-increasing rate of speed, until at long last the objects emerged from the central area of the torus to begin expanding once again toward the opposite outer edge. We have been observing this expansion since 1929, when astrophysicist Edwin Hubble discovered redshift and associated it with the ever-increasing distancing of galaxies from one another, nearly all galaxies, that is. But on cosmic timescales, this toroidal motion likely takes millions, if not billions of years to cycle. Thus, observing this redshift phenomenon less than 100 years ago, and reaching the conclusion that the universe is forever expanding, and that will eventually experience heat death, seems naive and premature. It would be like making someone's acquaintance for 1 second, and then claiming that person will always and forever be in the mood and the disposition which you observed within that 1 second. You might say, "I met Nancy once, for a second, and she was a pleasant and agreeable person. She will always and forever be a pleasant and agreeable person." This might seem a ridiculous assertion, based on our experiences with humans and their capacity to change moods and dispositions based on people, places, and things in their immediate sphere. But we don't think twice about making these kinds of assertions about the universe, or matter in general really, after the briefest of encounters and observations. Cosmic timescales require thousands, if not millions of years of observation before you can have the slightest of ideas what they are up to. And based on what we know about every other field within nature, toroidal motion is the most likely scenario to any and all energetic fields. It stands to reason that the universe, which is the culmination and totality of all fields of energy, itself being a manifestation of the underlying unified field, also operates in a toroidal fashion. Imagine following its curvature, much like a donut, in an oscillating fashion, like the infinity sign or a figure eight. How might other objects, also following that same path, appear to you as you chased each other around and up, down and in, and back around again, the distances between you expanding and collapsing once again over and over in an undulating pattern, a pulse if you will? This chasing of objects around a toroidal path, pulled irresistibly inward toward a massive attractive force, and flung out again by its own momentum, the heartbeat of the cosmos, is only possible due to the imbalance within nature. The positive and negative forces ever so slightly offset, so that they perpetuate one another in a constant push-pull relationship. In this way, your lower and higher selves, acting as the metaphorical matter and antimatter of your being, are ever at odds, ever so slightly out of balance, so that what compels you continues to evolve, one way or the other, depending on your alignment or misalignment with the forces of nature and the cosmos along the path of your own personal evolution. The moment your lower self, that part of you based primarily in the material world, and your higher self, that part of you based primarily in the immaterial realm, become perfectly aligned, perfectly balanced, they become one. You achieve Christ consciousness, what is also known as cosmic consciousness. You realize your unity and oneness with all creation. Your being cancels out. You zero out. At least, this is the theory and what many faith traditions suggest has happened repeatedly throughout history to the founders of the ancient peace traditions. Individuals such as Enoch, Elijah, Melchizedek, Zarathustra, Moses, the Buddha, and some say, arguably, Jesus, who according to the Christian New Testament, did not achieve this state of equanimity until after death, at least as documented therein. Even Pythagoras was said to have achieved this existential equanimity. They zeroed out. They found perfect balance. And God took them. In this way, our task, much like the universe at large, and all fields within it and subject to it, is to find peace, to contribute toward cosmic evolution and advancing our own. The zeroing out of our being by finding perfect alignment between our lower and higher selves, perfect balance, equanimity, stasis, ultimate peace. All things are motivated toward a state of zeroness. It is only their imbalance which keeps them from doing so. From perfect balance, perfect peace, we and the universe at large zero out. We rejoin the cosmic motion toward stasis. From this cosmic death comes a cosmic rebirth. its cycle of contraction and expansion, perpetuating life on a cosmic scale. In this way, we contribute toward our own peace and to that of the cosmos, toward our own personal and by extension cosmic evolution. In this way, we serve the living force of the cosmos, the All-Father, the Source, God, in its quest for eternal life through its experience of singularity.